You can op at A and you can op at B, and you can do it on both sides. So maybe the ops can be a key factor here. But it'll be a while before we see those, as we're just hopping into the pistol round right now. And once again, facing elimination, actually, as it's the losers match here in Group B. EZG versus Splyce. Reki going to take a quick peek into A main, and he will survive.
Yeah, he got quite a bit of info there, and it makes you wonder if Splyce were trying to sell a fake, and it looks like they are. Bomb is situated over at B. Arya making a little bit of noise. Davey going down right away might not cause some rotates, and it seems like two people from EZG are in place to tee off on each other, and there it is. Q's finding a first frag, looking for a second one. Abe does trade him out, and N4J at the spot that he very commonly plays is still alive.
Still alive. Here's Abe, and Headshot holding on with that Tech 9 stops more of it from coming out of that upper catwalk into a 2-on-2. One player for the terrorist side of Splyce on the site. Arya is off. He does get N4J down very, very low. 2 HP. It'll be hard to lose that duel, and he won't. Arya, I think he even switched over to Burst. Finds the player that was Grumpix up top, and Abe going to get a personal 300 bucks there. 3K for Arya, 2K for Abe in the pistol round to Splyce.
Yeah, and they do shut it down. Now, EZG shutting down that fake, maybe not rotating soon enough, could have been a problem, though it did come down to a 2v2. I'd say both teams played out pretty well. Apart from the fact that, you know, Splyce hit more shots in general, and both players winning their trades in that 2v2s, all that you have to really say about it. Now, EZG, no stranger to eco rounds, are going to be forcing up 5-7 armor, no nades, no scouts, no one sacrificing armor for a smoke or a flash, and I think they just plan to push for information and try to trade out. Abe doing a little bit of damage here, but sees 257 chasing him. He's got the Tech 9 out and goes down to Reki, and now it's 5v4.
Yeah, I'm not sure if pulling out that nade was the best idea, but he had shot most of the ammo he had in the MAC-10 and had an upgraded pistol, so the Glock was going to lose to that 5.7. He falls, and it's getting a little dangerous. Professor Chaos, though, with the Galil. The one man, I think the only guy, actually, that went in for a rifle here. Keeping their hopes alive. He's worked his way to that white box. There is a player. He's very, very conscious about someone being in that Z connector. As we know, more of it is. Davey finds an opening over here in B, takes Kuz out of checker. Here's more of it. Nice shot. I think he actually top fragged on the previous cash match.
For what it's worth.
Yeah, for what it's worth. I mean, it was, what, 16-9 in the end. I think he had 19 kills. He wasn't even positive on the KD, but still, young player, like 15 or 16. And here it is, EZG with just 5.7s in armor. For who needs utility, Laundries?
You know, and that's a lot of confidence coming out in the second round. The force-up can be a really hard round to win. If you're going up against a team that's more highly favored than you, facing them when they're saving can be really nerve-wracking, but it seems like we see them playing very confidently right now. They all had 5.7s, they had head armor, but they had no nades, they had no kit. That means the bomb going down would have been a pretty big disaster, and they managed to stop the bleeding right away. So now they're 1-1, and they go in with a really big buy. They could anticipate a force-up from Splyce, which they probably should play like it is, and we see pretty passive setups from EZG. However, Grumpix here is a little bit out in the open, making sure to watch that smoke, because if he's over a quad, he's not going to see people jumping out the forklift, and that's really conscious of him to take care of his teammates in that way.
And Grumpix with a weapon from the other side does have that Galil. He's the lone man on site. Reki supporting over from Highway. More of it out at middle, and it is going to be the A-take. Smoke's going down. Arya, Professor Chaos already pretty far up, but having to run through fire. Chaos goes down. Headshot from Grumpix. Player getting up onto that catwalk through that smoke. Will they be noticed? That's Reki, I do believe. He's taken some damage, hasn't got himself a kill, trying to retreat. Bomb goes down in default. Now Morvid working his way over, but it's a 4-on-4. Reki's very, very low. Already a good round for Splyce, and it could be a disastrous one for EZG if they happen to let this fall. They went in with a heavy investment to this round. Abe will fall as Q's goes in, finds 2. Morvid now working his way around quad, gets Jason R, and 2 to stay up, and bomb to be defused. Wow,
they actually do perform the retake, and that is the thing about A site. I mean, teams play retake on A quite often, and the reason is because it's very retakeable. There's so many ways to nade from, and there's so many nade spots, there's so many retake spots. Hitting quad over a smoke is so easy, and so with a little bit of patience and confidence in your team, you should be able to perform that retake more often than not, and then that's what they did. Now, Splyce getting in there and going 1-for-1 on the trades and the bomb going down, it seemed like the trades could have gone either way, and maybe Splyce would have taken that round, but no, EZG held it together, hit their shots, and put a round on their board. Now they're 2-1. They're up on rounds, they're up on confidence.
Yeah, because of that bomb plant, though, even though they lose, Splyce still has enough money to go in for some upgraded pistols and nades here. Still should be allowed to have a rifle round here in the next round. And it's just, wow, actually all M4A4s across the board here for EZG. Not something that I noticed in their first map, but no A1Ss yet. Maybe someone was dropping someone else. As Squeaky Door will open. A lot of smokes down, full-on A-take here with the limited utility that Splyce did have. But here's Reki, stops Abe, and then brings down Chaos, who is undefended trying to plant that bomb. Arya eventually coming in there to get a trade. It's 3-on-3. Jason R scoops up the bomb. He'll try to get it down. Meanwhile, Morvid takes Davey out of the equation. Arya just holding an angle here at quad. He's been spotted. No armor, though, having to fight that aim punch. That's rough. Gets headshot. Q's brings down Jason R, and again, a successful retake here onto the A site.
I really like that Splyce are using their smokes and getting out into a site that they know isn't going to be heavily manned. So that means they're going to be afforded a free plant. I mean, the fact that EZG are playing one person on the site to defend means that he's most likely going to try to either get as many kills as possible, get traded out, or just play for the retake. Either way, with 5 people rushing A through A main, that means that they'll be able to most likely get a plant, and they've done so 2 rounds in a row. EZG, however, still are with a round lead, are going up against the op of Professor Chaos, and even though Arya ops, Professor Chaos known to op on T-side, which is a really unconventional role.
Something I haven't seen in a long time. Haven't got to cast a Professor Chaos match in a while, but he's always fun to watch. He can definitely show up and bring the pain, as they're going to go for the easy way of getting that boost pulled off, and they do it quietly. So we'll see if Splyce decide to check it or not. Abe's working his way out of Squeaky, and Jason R wasn't a main, but has backed off. Bomb's still way down at the backside of the middle room, so Splyce not having committed to either side of the map quite yet. Still looking for that information. Yeah,
PC loves his boost, and if someone gets impatient in Z, he will get shot. Morvid is just going to be a man to watch fence, and since it's not Pops, he almost doesn't have to spot it at all, really. And you know, the only problem for EZG right now is that they're going to be a little bit worried they don't have map information, but with this push through Squeaky, they are kind of getting what they need out of the round. And a stack towards V means that they might shut down the split fairly well handily, and N4J in his spot.
I wonder where N4J is, somehow still getting away with this into a new match, gets 1 kill. Arya will take him down. There's Jason R. Now Q's almost finding 3. That spray on the 3rd guy just a little off to the right, but that still leaves it at a 2-on-2. Grumpix has a kit and the barrel. Oh, nice. Spots the barrel of that op. So Professor Chaos, kind of an easy kill there for Reki. He had so much time to react, and he moves in, brings down Davey. 2K for Reki. Bomb going down a lot for Splyce, but it's that blue number keeps increasing on the scoreboard.
Yeah, it does. And they're looking like a team revamped. I mean, completely rejuvenated here. Just playing extremely well. Now, N4J though, playing this checker box location over and over again.
He's a madman.
It's got to be punished at some point, and it's clear that Splyce haven't watched the last matches. I think they would have noticed by now
the tendency of
him
to play
be there.
Same spot.
It's more than a tendency. It's like a habit, an addiction maybe.
It might be an addiction, yeah. I mean, we saw him play the other side a little bit, but even still, pretty similar positions there as Jason R. Oh, Reki was the one going in aggressive. Jason R takes him down. Opening kill for Splyce. Let's see how they can go on from this point. Abe out of the door, down to 34, so he loses. Actually, maybe doesn't lose that exchange, as N4J is pretty low. But that was from a fight over at B through a smoke with Davey. Bulk of the forces for Splyce, still in A main, still at Squeaky. Molotov's going down, and let's look at the utility left here for the defense. There's just 4 flashes. That's all they've got to work with. So they'll have to make those count when Splyce finally decide to enter onto the site.
Yeah, that's true. The longer this round plays out, the more of an advantage Splyce have going into a full execute with Molotovs.
All of their utility.
Yeah, all the utility and all of their players. So with a man advantage and full utility, they can do as much as they want, even sell a fake, and EZG would have almost no ways about biting on it, because they're going to have to take a risk if they want to win this round.
Well, N4J started sliding over. He's going to go into from checker, of course, over to Z, and it's going to be Q's left alone. That flash goes out, one of the few that they have. Only actually 2 of those flashes were at A, and Q's goes down without a kill. Arya finds the opener there. Chaos takes N4J out of the smoke. I guess he was trying to hide to survive. It's up to Morvid, who's been fragging pretty hard at the start of this cash match. He gets 1 more, but 2v4. I think these guys might just opt to save.
Now I wonder, EZG didn't play, or excuse me, N4J didn't play checkerbox that round. and B got worked. And the reason that he is checker box so often is because to defend B, you need to have someone in checker most of the time. Either that or you have to have someone in vent. And I think that he would be a lot safer or feel a lot more comfortable not playing the exact same spot, but maybe playing in vent. If they wanted to try that out, hold mid control, play vent, keep one in the site, and then they don't have to play someone in checker against a wall kind of out in the open, or playing close left. These kind of like cheeky one-kill positions, you wouldn't have to risk it all on gimmicks. And I think that because they didn't do that round, they gave up checker control, and Splyce were able to bring it out into the late round. They really made that round easy to win.
All right, so a force up here for EZG. Most of these guys have a little over 3K. N4J is actually a little bit poorer at 1.4K, so they should still be able to have a buy after this one. Maybe they're just going for the force into a save, into a buy. We'll see what they want to do. As we haven't seen a lot of them, we don't really know their tendencies all that much. But they do seem to be like pretty decent players. I mean, the aim is there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, one thing is they look like a brand new team, as I mentioned, or I think we both feel that way. Just a lot of these rounds seems very very convincing, but at the same time, it was their CT side that was so much better, and it was their T side where they failed so incredibly hard, getting 14-1 by enemy. Now, if they go into T side, maybe you know, the fact that they are a new team on LAN, the confidence from having a solid half in the beginning could make it a little bit more reasonable for them to feel like they could win the match going into T side, the harder side. Maybe one that they just don't feel as comfortable on, but it seems like their CT side is fairly well ironed out, apart from probably not playing dynamically enough.
Yeah. They do definitely have some static positions. So let's see where we're going in terms of the money. They have bought. Looking at the inventory, we got a FAMAS and 4 M4A4s, 3 players with full utility. Only Reki with a kit, so that could be worth mentioning.
Yeah.
And he's the highway player, so that'll be more on the A side of the map as they're going for this boost. Molotov is there, so it's going to be delayed a little bit. And how much mid control are they trying to take off of this? Just Morvid and Reki playing at Sandbags and White Box, so they haven't really pushed up. Oh. And N4J not going in for vents. He's in his other corner inside of that checker room.
Yeah.
Reki to get Molotov. I like the idea of throwing the flash, trying to escape out of there. Forces some of them to turn, but they were able to look back and bring Reki down. Unfortunately, Morvid flashes himself more than he does his enemy, so he falls as well. Splyce looking to have a pretty flawless round. Some of them low. Maybe they get cleaned up. They got to be expecting N4J around here somewhere, where they continue to check all of the corners. Will Jason R go down? Nah, Jason R checks it. Nicely done. Trying to take no casualties here, and if Abe can get the last kill, we had a team ace, but it's Arya that gets greedy and goes in for 2.
Yeah, that's a pretty big round. Here we're going to see EZG probably saving. I mean, they have some loss bonus, but again, yeah, just don't have a lot of money at all. Actually don't have that much loss bonus, it seems, to even potentially buy utility here to make this round somewhat worthwhile. Now, we have between 5 and 7K on Splyce. They're starting to take the momentum back into their favor. But again, we see on matches that get into these situations that are fairly get in these situations where there are huge upsets. It starts with early round wins. And sometimes these 4 rounds that we look at can come back to haunt Splyce later on if we see EZG keep the momentum up in some way. But it's important that they hemorrhage the bleeding soon, because at a certain point, Splyce are going to figure them out, and they're going to have a playbook that's much deeper with much more answers to many of the more static teams and setups, and that is the mark of a more experienced, higher tier team.
Q's actually one of the players who I think had a P250. No, he's actually on P2K. Over in Checker B, he does find 1 kill. I guess not in a position to pick up the gun because he hasn't done so yet. Reki, meanwhile, trying to go in and bring down Abe. He was alone as the bomb was still out in middle, and they were working some picks, getting some information at B. Q's potentially moving up to make a pretty big play.
Yeah, getting the 2 kills on this round is pretty big. Q's also hearing that and finding an AK.
It was a kill from Vent, so he had to go around to get the AK. That's why it went back out in the middle. But fighting the aim punch can't quite bring down Davey, who lives with just 15 HP. So now it's on to Reki. No armor, has a flash, but 1 versus 3.
Yeah, he's got a decision to make here, because he could save. I mean, he's most likely not going to win. He's almost certainly not going to win with no armor. Oh, does find a first frag.
Only 14 damage from that exchange.
Yeah, has a bit of health, but at the same time, no kit.
Oh, okay.
Wow, and through the wall even does like almost 50 HP because of the fact that he has no armor. Yeah, comes away with an AK, and again, his team isn't exactly doing that great in terms of economy. They're overall pretty low. Yeah,
well, with the bonus, they should be, well, definitely with this save and the loss bonus that they've accrued, they'll be able to buy in this next round, no problem. Just Grumpik's a little poor, so he might need that drop. right, so Splyce pulling ahead here.
And now this is going to be another critical round, right? These are going to continually be 2-for-1s if they want to have enough utility to win. So I think I want to see if I'm EZG, go for a 1-3-1, get vents control, and fight the molly, like either wait it out or try to maintain mid control while you can stay outside of the box, not fall out of vent or give it up too easily. You know, Splyce will definitely abuse them if they get in there, but at the same time, if they are able to manage to get someone back in vent by the time a B-split happens, where they know Splyce, I think, feel like they can exploit EZG the most, then that's what they're going to want to do, is have vent control for that site take.
All right, well, CEVO has picked up an op. We didn't really see, we saw him use it, I think, 1 round in their game earlier against Enemy, and it didn't work out too well. So we'll keep an eye on that situation. So far, Splyce hasn't really used it op too much either. I think Professor Chaos had it like 1 round.
Oh, oh, we got into a 4v4. Did he actually just jump through that smoke? I don't know if he smelled something, but wasn't able to do anything except to take 90 damage, and N4J at the back of the site goes down. Trying to win that battle with Aria one-on-one.
All right, well, Q's with the op. It's his time to shine. He's going to wait. He's going to watch the further exit from Checker. That smoke going to go down. He's going to cover that. Can he take a shot in the dark? Oh, the nade actually takes down Davey. And a really quick peek by Arya. He's going to try to crouch walk and spray through that, but not a lot of wall pen here through those bricks. So Q's gets that shot. A little unfortunate for Arya right there. Professor Chaos, Jason R, 2 versus 3, but they're going to get to this A site pretty undefended. I mean, Grumpix has that long angle on it, but can he hit these shots? And both of them, actually, one of them will cross. Jason R is going to hold out in A main, just going to stay in that post-plant position. Professor Chaos just plants out in the open, but he plants for A main. He'll remain at quad. And this is not winnable for Splyce. Let's see what Chaos can do around quad box. Actually, Jason R just gets aggressive and peeks out. He brings down Grumpix 2-on-2 right away. Both positions should be known. Quad player taking some damage there from Morbid. Q's just waiting for him to peek on one side, sees that shadow, has a time to react, but Professor Chaos not giving it the peek, does there. Jason R, meanwhile, takes down Morbid, and Chaos wins his battle. So, I mean, Jason R, with that first aggressive peek, really caught him off guard, evened it up, and then they both won their battles. Yeah,
just an excellent 2v3 situation from Splyce, where they went up they were at 4v4, and then they went down a man. Davey managed to stay alive, and then them going back to A on that hard rotate after 3 players from EZG were at B, ready for the B hit. Knowing that they saw 1 player at fence, that they wouldn't have rotated 2 out, instead assume that Splyce might re-aggress B, or simply do something like go back for map control. Expecting that 1 player at truck to be the only player at A meant that they could plant for A main safely, as there's no way he's going to come up bomb wall fast enough to stop it.
Yeah, I mean, they were close, honestly. Still a bit of a risk to plant in the open, but
if he comes out from truck and Jason's still in A main,
yeah, that's true.
All right, yeah, then he can always peek out and kill him while he's running a bomb wall, so he knows that he's going to take his time, or at least be hesitant.
All right, so that was just a quick round. EZG tried to get aggressive with a pop flash into A main. It doesn't work out. Chaos hits a really quick op shot. Jason R then could see the light of day again, starts spraying, and a crab walking with that AK, and round over quickly after that. So Splyce now with 7, and that marks actually the pistol 4 in a row for EZG, which included not all full rifle rounds. Bomb went down a lot, and then Splyce 6 in a row right now.
I really hate this, how EZG are continuing playing 2-on-2. I feel like they're just they're forfeiting mid, and Splyce always will happily take it late round. Abe is also peeking out a Squeaky and getting this kill multiple times, and it always goes to a 4v4 situation. They do manage to trade that every round, which is really nice, but it still favors Splyce in the 4v4. And now we have a full A hit and a couple of rotates from Truck, but I think they'll be smoked out.
Getting flanked, yeah. Push on the side. Actually, I think I did get killed from the guy in front of him, which was Davey. Morbid, meanwhile, did trade that. So again, 3-on-3, even situation. Everyone in the game pretty healthy right now. But having to go into the retake. Only N4J with the kit, and Q's has that op. See how he uses that. See if he can't find Professor Chaos, who is actually the one in A main. Jason R and Squeaky and Arya playing here behind the quad box. Q's waiting for a peek, but no one's going to give it to him. He takes 1 damage as he hops over to the forklift. Does spot the player at quad, lights him up a little bit, but it's not going to be enough. Jason R takes down 2. That leaves Q's all alone. And I think running out of time, yeah.
Arya won't let him save. And Splyce doing an excellent job of keeping up the tempo here by picking all the right sides at the right times. I mean, they played rounds slowly, they played rounds quickly, and it's almost always worked out in the last 8 rounds, considering they've won them all consecutively. Again, EZG had a 2-1-2 setup. It seemed like one player was left stranded in the site though somehow, as two players were rotating from truck, and that might have been their first problem. Oh no, it was Abe peeking out of Squeaky right away to get that first kill.
Yeah, that was the first kill.
Yeah, and I guess they gotta stop letting him get away with that right away, because suddenly, you know, two men on A, pretty much a stack, depletes and becomes a very risky hold that one person has to basically be responsible to pick up the slack from one person and get an extra 2 kills.
Yeah, or they could take the approach and just get aggressive, right? I think on the second round where they were kind of forcing up, they pushed that with 2 5.7s and a flash. So if you can just do that against Abe, bring him down, and maybe you find the opening. Again, it will come in. It was actually Professor Chaos with the first kill of the round, but Abe will go down and Squeaky, and it's a 4-on-4 once again, but always favoring the terrorist team. And N4J, they figured him out. There it is. There goes the Molotov to the back of Checker. N4J forced to move out his comfort zone. And looks like he's playing from headshot. He'll try to bait them into Qs, playing that tight angle with the 5.7.
See, this is kind of rough because he's in a position to get smoked out really easily, and they have one person in here to trade out playing close left with a 5.7. So
let's see, will it be checked? We got 2 ops, and Qs actually goes in first. He gets 2 with the 5.7. Davey takes him out, 2-on-2 now. Health advantage on the side of EZG, and can Reki get him while he crosses? I think he might have just tagged the foot there very briefly. Bomb going down, and we do have the players split up, one on the site, and Professor Chaos holding back in a B main Checker side of things. Grumpix to be smoked off as well.
Somehow finding 4 smokes between the 2 of them.
Yeah, right.
Oh, pushing in.
Grumpix tries to push through, and they were going more or less at the same time, but the way the site works out, I mean, yeah, Grumpix was a little early. He kind of jumped the gun.
A little bit. It's hard to communicate, right, when you can't see your teammate. It's kind of like someone as a third party could be like, yeah, pushing right now, and then, you know, someone just is coming through on an opportunity that they see, and is just like, yo, you come through as well. But if they jump through at the exact same moment, maybe you get at least one trade. Instead, we had Splyce with a very easy after plant situation in a 2v2 to clean it up and put a 9th round on the board. And now EZG have a really low buy. I mean, I'm not even sure that, like, I don't know. This buy is like a little bit. They could have saved one round and got a
little suspect.
Maybe. I mean, they could wait. They could win it, but I feel like they could put the utility to work. And here they're relying on Fomuses, where they do go 1 for 1, but again, that is T favored.
Looks like Splyce adapting pretty quickly to these corner positions at B. Q's was their last round, caused them some trouble. This time they pre-Molotov it, force him out, and take him down. Even with that, though, it is a 3-on-3. N4J and Morvid had picked up a frag. Davey and Abe have fragged for Splyce.
And it looks like a little bit of a stack over towards B, which is a gamble you need to take. I mean, you don't have much information. You forfeited mid completely.
Gamble that might pay off.
And you've got to blindly kind of pick the site that you think they're going to. Reki actually falling out, though, going into 1-1-1, which is maybe not the best decision, but also
is... N4J hiding out behind the box, letting these guys run up. Unfortunately, now Reki going to be smoked off. Chaos somehow. That guy plays on a high sensitivity, so those quick turns, not too much work for him. And he finds 2 quick Tech-9 headshots, leaving Morvid all alone.
The issue is it's not really a gamble when Reki is in a rotator position, right?
Yeah.
Because you're just going to get smoked out of CT. Like, they'll throw that smoke before you see them, so you don't have time to get in the site. And when you push through the smoke, if you've done it in the round before, they'll just watch it the entire time like a good team should. And I think they really should have felt confident there. Like, Reki was there for a moment, fell out. I think if he just stuck with it, it obviously would have been fruitful considering they went B. But that's the issue of not having map control in the first place. And as a result of them not having a great buy at all, right? Because mid requires a lot of nades. You want to smoke mid, you want to molly boost, you want to throw a nade down, you want to throw 2 flashes, 1 to each side, and just lock it down against a rush. But Splyce haven't been taking it right away, so I feel like that's why EZG don't feel like they need to hold it, though. It could have offered them up some really nice rotates and retake positions.
You can see the relief there on Morvid as he does save that gun. So they've got that going for them into the last round. Without that, it would have been really tough. But now they've got an AK. They can go back to some FAMASs, a limited amount of utility, and a couple kits. So it's a winnable round, but definitely Splyce with the upper hand in terms of just the weaponry.
All right, so now I kind of understand why they bought last round, because they would have had like a really good buy this round, but they could get 2 kind of pretty good buys and chances to win the round.
Yeah.
However, they could have maybe spent just a little bit of money last round, not have a real buy. Still had the opportunity to win.
Just go 5.7 armor instead of FAMAS armor.
And then kind of guarantee the last round, right? But Now they have 5v5. Their biggest issue is giving up the man advantage too early in the round. Making it 4v4 is okay, but it's not great. You'd rather be 5v5 than 4v4.
Yep.
And we'll see if that happens again. Reki down to half HP with his FAMAS. And
took some
Arya all the way out
damage,
mid. They let him out by himself.
Yeah, they didn't even smoke Z. I mean, Morvid's been in Z most of these rounds, but I guess he pulled over to rotate to the truck a little earlier. He will get a kill on Abe. Q's pushes the smoke in middle. Looked like Arya was even somewhat blind, but he still gets the kill. He had spotted his man before his vision was taken away from him. Still followed through with the kill. And it's a 3-on-2. M4J and Morvid here on the last round. But this is going to be tough. I mean, Davies moved into the site. He's planning for A main. That's, of course, I'm assuming. Oh, actually, it's Chaos back in there with the op. Jason R stays at quad, and Davies even going to go over to a forklift. So perfect post plans.
Yeah.
Oh, how does Davey even spot that? Shadow giving him away? I'm not sure.
I think you're just spamming bomb wall.
Yeah. Hey, there's a smoke kind of in a random position. Probably a player in it. And there it is, Davey taking the headshot. So 11-4, which, I mean, it's better than the first half they played against Enemy, but of course, it was their CT side that was better.
Yeah.
And now it's a little worrying from what we saw from the T side that they have to switch.
Yeah. You know, I think part of the reason that EZG were able to have such a good half or second half versus Enemy was the fact that Enemy were up 14-1. So they're obviously coming in lax. They're force buying whenever possible. They're basically spending whatever the money they have. They don't have any respect for the team, right? So losing rounds versus a team you don't have any respect for almost doesn't matter until they win. And they didn't actually pull out the win. So it's hard to quantify the 10 rounds and say that, you know, that represents a solid close performance from EZG versus them. And in this map, we see Splyce losing the first 4 rounds and then adapting really quickly, obviously taking it seriously after losing that last map, and then coming back to have an 11-4 half. So there isn't much more to say about that. I mean, going into the second half, comparing T-side to the T-side that they had last, how do you feel like they should play?
I mean, obviously, a lot of it's going to hinge on the pistol. If they don't get the pistol, they're probably going to feel the pressure and just end up forcing up a lot. But if they can get the pistol, find the, I don't know, you just go straight aggressive first, or do you try to maybe work your default? I feel like you're making the comeback. You got to make the riskier plays and just try to bring it to them.
Yeah,
so
there were some
faster.
There were some close rounds, right? It started with a pistol, and then there was a close round on the first rifle. Obviously, where Kusta aced, and I think that some of the rounds that they came closest to winning were the ones they played out slowly in their default. And as long as they have the patience to do that, obviously they'll probably be able to, I want to say, seal up a couple important rounds. And the key to beating a team on CT side is to obviously break their economy, because the economy is such a big part of CT side in the sense that it costs so much to put together a solid buy. And even if the map is CT sided, it's not CT sided until the CTs have all the equipment value that they need. So on T side, you could have an AK buy with no nades, still hit a couple of entries and just win around instantly. On CT side, you really do need retake nades, you need sight hold nades, you need smokes for everybody. Your M4s cost more. Everything's a premium on CT side.
You need kits as well.
Kits, yeah, exactly.
Of which Professor Chaos does have one. Here's Q's holding the push. It's going to be a pretty standard pistol play from Splyce, just going for the 3 push into B main. And it doesn't actually work out. They only find Q's. Professor Chaos and Arya are down for the count. M4J looks like he's leading the charge over onto the A site, which is now left more or less undefended and will be a retake 3v4. Actually 2 now as Reki cuts off Abe. There's Davey finding that trade out in middle. Jason R working his way into the site. Molotov does go down. Morvid, though, pulls out that Glock, hits a headshot. Davey on all sides. Oof. And it does actually come down to a 1v1 for about a second, but there's Grumpix hitting those shots.
Yeah, they seal it up. I mean, they triple peaked them. Like, you could say, wow, they almost lost that round. It came down to a 1v1 when they had 3 people. But actually, they played really well. I think they, using the triple peak and then Davey getting those 2 kills is pretty unbelievable. So the fact that he was able to get those kills is pretty crazy. And ultimately, them winning it is no surprise. Now, they do get that pistol round. They'll have the ability to bolster their economy. In the first half, we saw Splyce win a pistol round. EZG actually eco them. I think that's a sign of a team that's becoming more and more calm. So I don't know what that means for them going into the second round here with a bye. Will it be a little bit surprising to them that they were able to seal up that pistol?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they might have got some of the land jitters out. Like,
yeah,
they were kind of getting wrecked by Enemy for pretty much the entire first half, and then second half was great. And even here, they started off pretty strong on cash. They were doing a lot better as a team. Maybe they can get some of these T rounds together. They've gone for all the submachine guns, and Well, I mean, if it does get close, Splyce should be careful because they just use their one timeout to let Abe go to the bathroom. So
Yeah.
hopefully they don't need to hit the strats later.
That's attack.
Yeah.
But that last game, so on Dust 2, Splyce played leader 1, and they had like a 5-1 lead. And then they blew the lead by like doing a careless rush into B. Maybe it wasn't careless, maybe it was calculated, but they got completely destroyed. And then
You got to accept your dominance. Like we can go A and we can go B, but then it turned out they couldn't, and they ran into some problems after that.
Yeah, and it almost, they almost tilted after that because they lost 2 rifle rounds in a row, and it's like coming off the momentum, you can almost only pin it to something like a tilt if you see a team blow a lead like that. And I think that, them ultimately losing that game will make it so that they're going to play these rounds out really, really carefully, which will make it especially hard for EZG in terms of how many risks they expect to take. Like if this was the first match of the day for both of these teams, we probably see Splyce like throwing caution to the wind.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to take EZG a little bit more seriously now. And Abe has drained the dragon.
Hey.
So
he's back. Shout out to the Ninja Turtles hat, by the way. That is N4J, for those of you wondering, one of the older players. I think he's 28.
AKA Checkerbox.
Yeah, AKA Checkerbox. Does play in there quite a lot, but must be a big Ninja Turtles fan. He's got a varsity jacket of it as well. But here we are. We're back into it. Abe should be playing better than ever now.
Is that what happens?
Yeah, that's what happens, dude. I personally play Counter-Strike terribly if I have to pee really bad, so. Well, I play Counter-Strike terribly all the time, but even more so if I have to pee. And, well, Abe's been taken out. But you kind of expect it, as it is those submachine guns that are so powerful against the pistols, especially with no armor. Arya, though, pushing that smoke, walk pushing it in the middle, gets a kill onto Q's.
Look to see this, the fact that EZG no longer have mid. Our Arya push right into their faces, got a kill, and is holding it down with a P250 matter a lot. And actually re-aggressing here, super risky, but at the same time, if he was able to sneak up on one more person, that would just put them on tilt, I think. But now Grumpix finds a kill on the other side of the map as well, and they're only 3 alive for Splyce. So EZG, from a really bad spot, are now in a much better place, and I think are just grouping up for the A hit with the flank coming out. So if Jason R is able to stay alive in the site and get 1 kill, see this round turn completely around if they aren't able to get out into the site fast enough.
No kill for him. Morvid takes Jason R out immediately, but Davey still. Oh, just a little too slow, and everyone goes down. Not even another frag coming on the board for Splyce.
That's a good awareness.
So EZG starting off the second half exactly how they needed to. Should be getting this next round more or less for free. Should be the full eco for Splyce, maybe a couple P250s or so, but you sneaky.
Yeah, basically the full eco from Splyce. Who have a lead. It's a small lead after this round. It's going to be 11-7. It's going to be hard to distinguish who actually won the pistol, who had a really dominant half of the first half, even though it was 11-4. And that's why pistols are so important.
All right, N4J going for boost up of Reki. Still can be one of those recon players that can try to run out, maybe find the stack of, which there actually is one. I mean, a little heavier onto the B side of things for Splyce. They just got their man Abe holding the car. Nice. What did you get? Mac 10. Could have been luckier.
Stat track, though.
So now we have found out that disabling the chat and everything and radio commands does not stop it from announcing the opening of items. So there you go.
Priorities.
Tested.
Priorities.
Abe again, the one player at the car. As opting for that retake onto the A site, pretty common, but will be difficult with no utility, no kits, no nothing. Bomb's actually not quite there yet. Grumpik's going to go pick that up now and work his way over. And actually, Q's is out in middle.
Huh.
Grumpix was just spotted. Arya's hot on his tail. I don't think he's going to be able to get there in time, though. Grumpix will be able to clear out into the site. Arya is going to get smoked off. I'm sure he just run straight through that. He does. And nearly gets the kill there onto N4J, who just lives barely with 2 HP.
Nice. And I liked actually how much time they took to take the site there. A site was wide open, and a great way to flush people out on ecos if there is a stack towards A is just to stand in A main. You have such a big choke point from A main to the site. You can see pretty much every angle from there if you have someone in Sweeky, clearing out first forklift and catwalk, and then making sure no one's going to peek quad, molly out fence, quad, and so on. And they really took their time to do it carefully, meticulously, knowing that they had a certain amount of time left on the clock, and they had nothing to lose by being patient. and managed to keep most players alive in that situation. And now full buy versus full buy, very important round. If they lose, if Splyce lose this, I mean, we're getting into, you know, 2-round territory. Yeah.
Absolutely. They lose this, likely to save again. Because look at the investment on this round. Both Arya and PC going in for the AWP. So that's expensive. And EZG, the first real test of their second half besides that initial pistol round. And what are they? Again, they're playing it slow, which is how you had mentioned they had found some success.
Yeah. Oh, it's important to stay calm. And oh, ooh, that's a really nice angle from Jason. Wow, just lining them up with the head perfectly.
There's the trade, though. It's like EZG are the masters of getting every round into a 4v4, which will work better on the T side.
Yes, it will. I mean, that's a huge compliment.
And Arya missing a shot there as a player slides over into Sunroom. Now he's kind of got two angles to watch, trying to turn it into one angle.
Oof.
And taking nade damage heavily. Nice shot onto Morbid. And another quick one onto Grumpix. Abe brings down Q's elsewhere, and it's N4J all by himself. Going to go in through the vents. Does find Abe. They at least want to try to make it expensive so they can have another buy up in their next round. Will he expect Arya in this close corner? He'll try to smoke him off regardless. Everyone now converging onto the B site, and it'll be Davey that brings down N4J. So Splyce get it, and both of their really expensive guns will be preserved into this next round.
Mm-hmm. Now, Splyce do win a crucial round there, but because EZG were able to win not only the pistol round and the two follow-up eco/force buys from Splyce, on that most previous one, they kept 4 people alive. So that's going to help them out tremendously coming into this round right after they lost. And Splyce are going to be fully aware that they're going to be up against a buy and treating it just like that. Now, Reki going to be flashing out mid. We got a couple people over boost, but no one's coming out lower mid just yet, and it seems like that's going to work out just fine. N4J actually finds a kill before the first man over boost. That's Koos, and Davey spotting a player does a lot of damage but has to fall off.
Davey spotting pretty much the entire team right there. Two people, actually, they're just going to deposit Q's. He's very, very low, but they'll put him up at that white box. Doesn't actually feel like he's so sure about the position. Arya's watching the vents. Doesn't look like anyone's going to push through. 3 players you can see are very, very low right now. One man still up on the mid boost. Morbid, though, turning his attention over to the A site. Reki in pursuit of that with the bomb. 2 on A right now, Davey and Arya. EZG taking their time, though, trying to figure things out. And Arya is getting curious. He was looking out in B main, but he'll turn back. They want to counter boost vents, apparently. They've made noise. They've got to hear this, but Q's is so low that he can't win the battle. Davey peeking into more, and Reki wrecks him. As now Arya, thank you. At least Launders appreciates it. Oh, Arya missing another. Actually, I don't think he missed that one. It just wasn't enough for the kill. Might have went through the wall. Might have just hit him in the leg. Trying to get some of them on the cross. Molotov goes through, pushing the op even further back. And, I mean, retaking this B site with 2 ops, not a thing that's going to happen. And just the one now as Arya gets gunned down from behind.
Yeah, that's someone came up highway, pushed the truck. N4J came up highway, pushed the truck, and got that kill. That was actually a really sick round from EZG. Like, taking mid control, trading out 2 for 0, which is obviously the best way it could happen. But even going...
That's ideal.
Yeah, I mean, that's ideal. That's about as good as it gets. But getting that mid control, holding down mid, not pushing up the highway and getting opt, not trying to get into Z, not peeking one at a time, but just waiting. Like, being patient, slowing it down, knowing that you have kills, knowing that Splyce have to take risks at this point if they want to win, and burning the clock down until the point that they've picked the site and they had the information to do it safely. And then they hit B, and look, they kept 4 players alive. That's really sick from them.
And I wonder what they will try to do around this op that you can see Professor Chaos was able to hold on. 3 people checking CT spawn. Surely someone flies over to the squeaky door. But they're broke. I mean, they only have Professor Chaos to rely on this round. I don't think anyone else is going to spend a cent. Besides,
yeah, it's surprising. I mean, they do not have a lot of money. The fact that you have an op can tilt your decision to the point that you just like force it
like,
behind
hey, let's force around this op, but
yeah.
Sometimes that can be
it's hard to recycle it on CT side is one thing. The other thing is like you go up against a rush, you're just completely screwed. So they figure, I guess, maybe make the round expensive, use Professor Chaos really mobily, and then think about the next round. And wow, 2 people on the right side of Squeaky.
Yeah.
Were they heard though?
Dude,
I mean,
check this if you're Morbid. And looking at Morbid, he does have a flash. Really want to throw this through. It's actually Chaos that hits that. He's getting lower and lower though. Chaos may be baiting them in to that trap, of course, that's in the corner there. Davey going to go down as Grumpix finds 2. He shuts down the B push, and I mean, shut down the B push. The call's got to be let's go B, and it's not a trap. The trap, of course, was set over in Squeaky's, so they're going to get a free bomb site.
Now, did N4J take a step here? He actually finds a kill and has so much information because of his position on the map. Now, do they still have the op? No, they don't. Actually, that was the main man who was Professor Chaos rotating in who went down. And now EZG are going to come away with another round. I mean, this is, you know, it's big that they won this round. The fact that they keep 4 alive is enormous, though, because if they lose, it's just going to be hard round after hard round for Splyce. Not only will they have to win a round, but they'll have to win the one to follow up. And the way that EZG and the way that Splyce, oh, I almost had the scores backwards. Splyce actually, you know, with the lead in the first place,
There
but destroying the economy, as we mentioned, is the most critical way to get a comeback going on T side, or basically your easiest route to do it.
I'm very surprised. I thought Abe being up on that boost this late into the round would surely get a kill and be able to save onto that AK, which would be massive. Well, this is massive too. Arya backtracks and is able to find the op that Professor Chaos had. And now the money's built up on the rest of them that they can at least go for M4A4 no armor, maybe, or not no armor, sorry, no head armor. Or they can go in for the FAMAS with some nades as well.
And that's why it felt like, you know, EZG were almost taking a lead because they've won the last 5 out of 6 rounds. And Splyce looking exactly like they did last round, except this time
situation
with half armor, because they won that round kind of on an island after, you know, winning the first rifle round, losing right after. Arya coming out with an opening frag though, and now that they found the op, I think might feel like they're going up against a whole buy if they didn't fully remember that Arya picked up the op at the end of the last round. But
still going to be tough. You can see that P250.
Since they spotted it, might just want to try to avoid it.
Oh, Abe, though, does take down Q's, who still decided to push through.
He solo
try to get back to mid, actually. Jason R at the forklift, a position where with the smoke down, he can maybe try to flash, push through it, or work around the other side of forklift, get to a close position. Goes out, looking at the sky, and unfortunately isn't able to get a kill. Professor Chaos falls in the sight as well, so even though Arya started it off, he's going to have to finish it off. Abe also got a kill. He's able to pick up that AK, so it's a good thing they did go for that armor. That makes the round so much stronger too. You know, the op does get a kill, and now one of your pistol armor players can get a gun and not have to deal with that aim punch, which is so annoying. But here you go, 1 man at quad. That's, is that Reki at quad? Yeah, it was. N4J from A main brings down Arya. And of course, Splyce, though, we're being very, very frugal, so they'll be able to get a rifle round on their hands. And that shows how big of a decision it was. Like, if they had bought more in that round and lost, then they pretty much would have forfeited their lead at that point.
Well,
Probably could have tied up.
Yeah, one thing is they did have a force up at the beginning of the half, and on their first rifle, I don't think had an op. Bought one to follow up a round previous, and now after this double save, we're going to have one more time. It's just going to be a huge deal. Professor Chaos and Arya both having an op means that each site don't really have to push for information at that point. You can cut off so much of the map on each half. And just play as a turret and hope to not get mollied out. And if you're afforded a free frag off of someone's risky peek, then suddenly the round is much harder to win as a terrorist. EZG have an op to answer back. That's in the hands of Reki. It doesn't seem that they have a dedicated opper per se.
No, I was talking to them earlier in the Players Lounge before the day started, and they were saying that they'll rotate the op back between Reki and N4J, but we've also seen Q's using the op, and they really just don't have a main opper.
Might be spawn-based decisions, which isn't uncommon, and maybe just give it to the person who feels the best at it that day. I mean, a lot of the times it comes down to who's more on fire, but here's a full execute.
Or in your case, how drunk you are. Whether or not you're going to be opping. Let's see, Q's was so adamant not to let them push. Somehow, Davey! Oh my gosh, he escapes by the hair on his chinny chin as he gets over that boost just in time. I thought he was going to fall to the floor and just be cleaned up. And now Arya holding a checker misses that first shot. 3-on-3 right now. Time, though, is getting low. EZG are going to have to bust a move. It looks like they want to go back out middle. That's going to be into the warm embrace of Abe, who's actually pushed off of that position. He falls back to quad, or excuse me, forklift. And now Morbid leading the charge through the vents. It's going into B. Splyce might need some ankle insurance after this one. Arya's really blind. He's going to try to get that flash out. And he's down. Sight should be open. Professor Chaos still has eyes on the cross from above.
10 seconds.
Will he be able to stop them? Yeah, time is so low if he hits that shot, but he misses. That's such a key shot. Bomb now is going to be able to go down. It's Grumpix to plant that.
2 men on the site. 3 AKs. Q's
Will
very
they
low.
know about this player that's pushed out to the tree? And it looks like they do. Chaos brings down Q's. Abe trying to hit those sprays, and it's into a 2-on-2. CTs are both very low. Everyone's really low, to be honest. Morbid, though, peeking out. 3 kills for him. Will he find the 4th? He won't, unless they decide to chase, because PC's running off over to middle. He wants to save that op.
That's a super impressive round from EZG, who managed to not only win another round consecutively, that's 4 now in a row, get a bomb plant on 3 out of 4, but then also do it versus 2 ops on Splyce. I mean, that's pretty much the best setup they could possibly ask for, and EZG managed to come away with 2 alive and bring them 1 away from tying up. Was that 1 or 2? Did they count the round already?
No, it's going to 11.
It's going to 11. It's going to 11, and
this is
it's going to be
final
and it's going to be a save for Splyce unless they decide to force up for some reason. But I think they can afford to half armor at the very least. But you know, this is the face of Aria, the man calling for his team right now, versus what is basically an open team with, I think, 1 player who is an IM. Reki, however, has a little bit more experience, but overall, just not nearly the caliber as Splyce is, or should think of themselves, and are very close to running away with this.
I like that we've seen Splyce with I mean, this op at this point's an antique, right?
Yeah.
They've had an op in pistols or an op in rifles. It's the 4th round in a row that they've had the same exact op, and they haven't got it to work once. It's caused a bit of damage. They'll go in actually. Yeah, there was a nice one. Going in, doubled up into A main. They find that kill, and it's actually put EZG at the disadvantage now in terms of manpower. Still a little bit of an edge in terms of weaponry.
Oh man, they you know, all posted outside of A do not want to end up running back into a site where we had 2 players from Splyce push in themselves. But now that Splyce are split up, they've got an op in their hands, an AK. I'd say I wouldn't want to say favored on this side or in this round, but do have half armor even. I mean, won't be victims of aim punch. I would have just actually, if I was Davey, I'd just hand that over to Jason
give it
R.
to Jason R. You got 40 HP. The armor's not helping you too much there. It's still just going to be about 2 shots.
But oh wow, they're in a perfect position to get go for 1 for 1 in the situation where it's 4v3. So that might do quite a bit. And the stack over towards A with 30 seconds remaining. Will this be a round for Splyce? We'll see.
Well, Jason R's moved up to assist on Davey. Davey's going to spot the man. Oh, there it is, Jason R. Drops the bomb, actually, and you said the time getting very, very low. Now it's just on Reki. He's going to have to go in, and go in very, very quickly. Still got to be wary of that smoke. The player might want to push through. Reki now just 15 seconds or so, letting that smoke fade. Will Jason R go for the peek, and you can see with the X-ray taken off how difficult it actually is for Reki, but a very nice shot, good reaction. This is an op on PC. He's got to know who's left. He's trying to go up top, hoping that Professor Chaos is tunnel visioned somewhere else, and he's going to bait him in, but Professor Chaos will not be denied the frag. He peeks into it. I don't even know if he had to peek into that. Was he planting with 4 seconds left?
No,
it was close.
It would have been close. I guess he knew that PC was up bomb wall, and that was really close. I mean, honestly, if you just hit him with the wide peek, it would have been a little bit of a risk there. I don't know if he knew that PC had not. Maybe he heard the scope. But that was a very close round. I mean, he almost won that. Played pretty well, like killed the guy at Forklift, gave himself a 1v1, but ultimately Splyce won the eco. You know, Splyce won the half buy. Coming to this round very healthy, can go back to the setup that works so well, and they're only 2 away from match point. So suddenly EZG from setting themselves up for a victory in a big way, earning themselves all the ecos that they wanted to, now are starting to give up a lead. And even if they bring it back, like if Splyce just managed to put together 2 rounds all of a sudden, they're on match point. And so that's why it's so hard to come back from such a deficit coming out of the first half.
Yeah, well, EZG did have a pretty good run of 4 rounds, so even if they lose this one, they're in a territory where Splyce have 14. You're at that buy to save, buy to win situation. And they can maybe make that work. Let's see. It won't be super easy for Splyce to close it out.
Jason R with the angles. He holds really good angles, like ones where they're just off enough that they aren't cleared quite perfectly, and he's killed boost like just from really good spots. It's obvious that he lines them up beforehand or practices them offline. Now, oh, gets traded out though. The trades are good.
Yeah, they are. I mean, that one comes way later. As Q's moves in, takes down Davey, takes some more of that mid control. Now Arya forced, he's actually backed off all the way to Sunroom, so this could be very, very unexpected. As M4J now starting to walk around. Really check this. It looks like he might want to. Oh no, and Arya's the one that decides to make the move first. He gets cut off by M4J instead of the other way around, but there's Jason R. He takes Q's. 3-on-3. Bomb is going down though.
Oh my god, Abe only has a flash here, so this is actually really hard for them to win. Now, they don't have checker control quite as
nice play from Morvid
much, but now they can retake it.
Not quite playing in checker, just waits for that flash to go off, then kind of peeks, and it's kind of a weird angle that you're not expecting to clear when you're the one running out of checker, and it works out. And once again, Professor Chaos run to the hills with this op. I mean, honestly, they should chase him. Splyce made it so difficult on all those rounds that they had the op with the pistols and sometimes with the pistol armor. If they could just kill him here, it would be huge.
Yeah.
And M4J, that's exactly what he wants to do. You can see him running into A main right now.
He's saving in the same spot. I think M4J at this point hears him scoping through the wall. I mean, they can't actually get to him. He could try to spam, but oh, maybe he doesn't actually know. Kind of difficult to hear this stuff on LAN. And EZG, they put another round on the board, and that is a back-breaking round.
Yeah.
Economically disastrous.
Bonus reset.
Hard reset. Concern face of Jason R here, and for good reason. Splyce have to decide what they want to do. I mean, honestly, I would consider a force-up here, but it looks like they aren't going to, because next round they're not going to have a good buy. Like, typically, you think, okay, we lose a round, we can buy the next. But if your money gets reset completely and you lose a round that was really expensive, then you're going to have to double save or have Thomas armor with no nades.
I like the game plan here for EZG this time, saying, you know that op is still around, let's just literally death ball into a site together. One op can't kill us all. They run through actually all the pistols. No one's even fallen yet, despite Morbid and Grumpix having a combined of 6 HP. Morbid still gets a kill onto Jason R with that grenade. And where's Professor Chaos going? I wonder. Over into the checker room to save this op one more time.
Yeah, that's got to be the most fun. And, I mean, good on EZG for picking the right side. They hit it quickly, and if they ran into an op, it might have been a completely different story. Maybe it was wrong. Maybe it was bad of Splyce to not actually pick a site to try to stack in that situation, but because they had the op, maybe they were just so focused on working against the default and fearful of the fact that EZG might split up and look for information. And that's why it can be so good to just group and hit something versus an eco, because if you're a team that defaults quite often, then if you go ahead and hit something right away, the entire time that the other team is considering their economic standing, what you're doing, they might just say, you know, they might forget to call a setup and simply go into their own default and CT side, and that could be the death of them. And it looks like it caught him off guard pretty well on this round. So now Professor Chaos keeps that up, and it's super frustrating to be the man just like saving every single round. And here I think he can drop his teammates. It's not going to have a great buy, but I hope they'd actually buy here. Oh, maybe they're not. And I suppose they have one more round to work with, and I guess that just speaks to their confidence. But I mean, they're cutting it close at this point.
Yeah, it's going down to the wire either way. And I'd just like to say, I mean, before we started this, there was a lot of talk. I mean, it was hard to find any information on EZG minus their pug stats. That shows how unknown these guys are. All we could find were pug stats. Yeah. There was a couple results on a few maps, but I think it's very fair to say to these guys and their credit as players is there's certainly not an open team.
Yeah. Wow. In this half, Splyce have only won one rifle round.
Yeah.
They won like a full or half eco.
And then they won the op with the...
whoa, the collat.
Chaos headshot through the body of N4J. And that's a good way to start off the round.
Oh my god, that can really shake you up.
I'm actually so mad that they didn't fight and go find Professor Chaos in that last round. Like, their money is strong enough that they could have thrown some bodies at Professor Chaos.
You know, he didn't take a shot. Maybe they completely forgot about him.
There's no way.
I mean, they didn't split up.
This op has been in the game for like 8 or 9 rounds straight now. Here's Davey from headshot. He'll go down, but it's Reki 1v4, and at this point, I mean, they went, oh, maybe he can do it. Nah, pulls out the Molotov, and that'll be that. Sealed up.
Oh, wow. And, yeah, Professor Chaos getting a 2-for-1. That can just completely throw you off. Another eco round, I guess with the op, it's hard to call it an eco round, but another round one that they weren't supposed to. They didn't intend on winning, and now Splyce take a lead in a best-of-1 for elimination. EZG 13-14. And this is kind of where you see maybe if it was a best-of-3, you know, we'd see a more competitive series, maybe an exciting series, but at the same time, is the better team going to win today? Splyce taking this shouldn't be unexpected, but EZG with the ability to actually come back, quite surprising, but it seems completely viable. M4J posted up for that peak. Not going to find him quite yet. Back.
Thank you, Kevin. Also worth noting that, I mean, Splyce, of course, have a coach with them here, whereas EZG doesn't, right? They're just fully on their own. The very, very last-minute addition to this event.
Hopefully it's Coach Carter.
I'll make a movie about it one day. So, Arya watching middle. Reki gonna clear out the sandbags, which is clear already, but they don't know that. Here's Q's with the first kill, and that's gonna be, that was peeking out the lower part of middle, I believe. Takes a player off of Z.
Aria's heart must have dropped in the situation. 14-13, going down 5v4, no trade in sight in one of the most important rounds of the game. Oh,
yeah. And they completely lost mid control, just playing 2 on each site right now. Davey in N4J's spot. Surely N4J checks this, right? There's no way.
Kuz is super worried. Davey, a master of timing now. Oh my goodness. Oh, and now he's not in a good spot. He's the solo man on B. They know where he is.
They know exactly where he is.
They
and all the utilities going in to deal with them. Reki's there with the op, trained on that position. Davey forced out from the flames. Here's Chaos, though. Shot onto Reki. Man advantage, and a bomb plant coming in soon here for EZG. Trying to get it tied up back to this 14-14 scoreline. I mean, Splyce's last game went to a full 30 rounds. It could very well happen here. Professor Chaos brings down M4J. 2-on-2 now, and 2 kills for Chaos.
They know one's
Grumpix
CT.
also. Oh no, the molly went too far. I thought Grumpix got mollied out there, but he's able to hold that first box, which is a very strong spot. Has a somewhat of a crossfire set up, and here they go. They're just lining up for him. Abe slides into headshot by Morbid. Actually, Morbid from up top gets both of those guys.
And EZG seal it up. Another solid round. And again, Splyce, the only rounds they win have been ecos. They've gotten 1 rifle round and 2 ecos. Can't do it with the full weapons. I mean, Davey got left in a really, really tough spot there. If he had peeked out any earlier, then he probably could have gotten that frag. I don't know if Abe was setting up to throw a flash for him. Or was that Abe? No, whoever was at headshot.
Jason R was headshot.
Yeah, okay, so it was Jason R. Might have been throwing that flash for him so he could peek out a checker box, and just as he was, got punished. So a little bit unfortunate, but at the same time, I mean, you got to give it up to EZG for pulling that out of the hat. I mean, that's now it's 14-14. Splyce obviously going to be buying up here. Do not want to let this get the match point. Have done it before. Aria coming out with the opening pick this time instead of getting picked, and maybe that'll set the tempo that they need, but man, EZG, no slouches.
That was really aggressive. Aria looking all the way into B main for that first kill. So
yeah.
He got a lot of information, then was able to back off. They should realize that EZG are more so on the A side of the map. How can Morvid work out of the squeaky door?
The thing is, they gave up that push. They didn't. They had 2 people on it, and they gave up that push, and now EZG are all at A. No one even came back to try to retain some of the map control that they lost, or
I mean, they're pretty fortunate that Splyce, I guess because of the nature of this game right now, it's gotten so close. Splyce not wanting to push out, but it may not matter. Abe brings down Q's. Chaos still alive at quad. Abe, though, now falling at the forklift. Morvid goes up top. Does get taken out by Jason R. Jason R with a quick 2, maybe even the 3rd, trying to hold down that trigger, using almost all of those bullets. And now it's Reki, half HP. Him against the world right now, 1v3. And he just walks slowly over into the crosshair of Jason R, and that'll be Splyce going on to match point first. Will EZG, how much money do they have left over? Is there enough in the tank to pull this thing maybe into OT? And there certainly is. It will be a full round for EZG.
Yo, Jason R with the angs. And that shot on a forklift, that was a complete, like, it might be a spectator smoke in the sense that he might have seen something that we didn't, but I feel like he just spammed right through that smoke and gotten a very important kill at forklift and wasn't traded out, and was a huge reason that they were able to win there. Now Splyce make it 15-14 off of the back of the hero work of their teammates, and Aria still posted up at B, you know, is able to get a pick sometimes, is able to get neutralized sometimes, and not necessarily a liability. I think it's super important to their success on this map, but at the same time are going against a tough opponent that don't seem to have a problem dealing with the double op setup of Splyce.
And looks like Q's was a little too poor to get into the rifle party. He will have the Tech 9, but he does do that so he can opt in for this utility, as EZG have been taking it slow. And Splyce left with quite a lot of theirs too. They've got 3 smokes, 2 incendiaries, and 4 flashes. As EZG is really hoping for a pick. They're so bunched up here in middle and B.
You know
and
what?
Look how passive Arya and Davey are playing at B.
Jason R is actually on a fast rotate, and no one's in checker, so that's actually a problem. I mean, but they have 3 people over towards B. Have they made some noise? It seems like breaking out the window.
Here comes those Molotovs. Molotov B take right now for EZG. Smoke's going to go down to block off the site. Davey's going to position around that. Let's see what Q's can do. He's going in first with the Tech 9. Finds a blind. Nade damage onto the other player in this site. Is that Arya, I think it was? It was. And he actually gets a kill and runs out into the little trash cubby here. Op shot. N4J working his way through. gets that kill over a headshot, even gets the one on Aria, nearly doing it there, but the kill, the last man, Abe, up. Oh, gets in there with a kill from behind, and that's a very, very close 30 rounds. Splyce take it 16-14, and will earn themselves the continuation in the tournament, which means actually a best of 3 for them, I believe, moving forward.
Oh my God. I mean, they look relieved, but they got to be kicking themselves, and man, that was so close. What a crazy last round, too, coming down to the final trade, all happening with a matter of seconds. And that unfortunately would be the end of the road for EZG. I don't think they have anything to be ashamed of.
No, not at all.
No, they played extremely well, especially coming into the second map. Who knows what would happen if it went to 2 or went to 3? But overall, I mean, I think Splyce have to really step it up if they want to continue to be competitive
further
in the future
in this tournament.
Yeah, in the future games of this tournament. No doubt about that.
Yeah. So I mean, already we talked about this this event. Of course, trying to not only win some money, but move forward in the qualification process for the major, which is going to be the most prestigious event in Counter-Strike. And it's really cool because it's the first one in North America. So that's awesome. It's a really big opportunity for a lot of these players. But Morvid with some pretty standout play, especially on that last map. I think he had somewhere
26,
he was at
27.
29 when I checked the last. He might have bumped over to 30 in that last round, but getting a lot of kills, and also Reki, as you'd mentioned. And those are the 2 youngest players, I'm pretty sure, were Morvid and Reki, and both of them were just dropping bombs.
What are they putting in that milk, Helium?
I don't know, but I need to start drinking it. And with that, we're going to go down to the desk and see what the guys have to say.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Well, that was close, to say the least.
Yeah, and again, EZG are probably going to be kicking themselves a little bit. It was kind of right there for them at one moment, and just a few mistakes, a little bit of rush of blood, and not knowing what to do, I think probably has played into it. But again, Splyce can't be feeling good about that at all. Not a great performance, and they should be putting a team like that to bed very easily.
Yeah, that last round again, like EZG were just playing this very decisive strategy throughout most of their T side, but as you could tell, as we got closer and closer to that 15-point margin, they just started getting slower and slower, wanting to make sure that everything was going perfectly. And unfortunately, they wanted it too perfectly on that last round, which gave Splyce way too much time to get the intel as to what was going on, and they were able to just catch right up and shut it down.
So it's a real shame. I mean, obviously they're going home. We knew that they were the weakest team here to begin with, but they can feel really, really good. They might not immediately, but when they look back on this, they competed with some teams that Splyce want to make a dent in NA. They're talking a good game right now, and if we take it on face value, EZG have done really, really well here.
Yeah, and again, full disclosure, because that's how we do our desks.
Yep.
There was a dispute on Splyce's first match. The round timings and the bomb timings for the first 2 matches here today actually were incorrect. They were the standard settings.
Yes.
And in one thing certainly stood out in that match with Leader 1. That one round was very close on that A site. Could have changed it, but then there were rounds both ways, all match. So
that's where the argument falls down. You have an entire T side where you have the benefit of that short timer. Now, I agree if the setting had been brought in for one half, obviously you've got to replay that game because there hasn't been a level playing field. In this instance, it was a completely level playing field. It's not like it's some crazy alien setting they've never seen before. It's how Counter-Strike's been ever since competitive Counter-Strike existed. So really, I thought it was poor form by Splyce to kind of kick up a stink about that and detract from a great win for Leader 1. I thought that was bad form.
Yeah, and I just want to bring it up in the context that I think it was very obvious at the start of this match that maybe Splyce was still a little tilted about that. They were not happy about the decision that MLG and Valve made that there be no replay. They did protest officially. They did what they're supposed to do, said, hey. Now, you can pontificate that someone in this building should have caught it long ago. It didn't happen. Obviously, it's been fixed now. But again, I think they were a little tilted at the start of that. If they come in, even if they lose that match, if they come in stronger and not in that same mindset, maybe they don't get off to such a bad start, and this is a totally different game. But again, they do get the win. They squeak it out at the end, and they move forward. They will now play. They're at the bottom. We're going to look at Group A bracket first, then we'll walk through B. Let's go ahead and look at the bracket A. Again, nobody played this today, but amazingly, Winter Fox is undefeated here. So basically what happened, if you are tuning in late, Optic Gaming got a bye because this group had 3 and they are the top seed here. Then Obey Trifecta and Winter Fox were supposed to play. One of the players for Obey had his flight canceled by the airline, so he could not get here in time to play the match. So instead of drop out of the entire tournament and the other players just go home, they took that first game loss, it automatically dropped down, so you can see they're sitting in a loser round. So now tomorrow, Winter Fox takes on Optic, And then the loser of that will take on Obey. Loser of that will go home. Obviously, then the winner moves forward. And there you have it. So that's Group A. And then we have Group B as well. That is what we saw today. And again, some good stuff out of some kind of, in the sense of a global Counter-Strike scene, very unknown teams.
Yep.
But North America, definitely a little bit more known. You can see Enemy GG and EZG, the team we just saw again. Enemy wins. Splyce loses that one. Again, both those first matches played on old round timings. But again, like you said, the round timings we've been playing on forever. And then you can see what we got tomorrow. Enemy GG, Leader 1. Splyce waiting for the loser of that. And same concept, the two come forward out of that. And then we'll show you the schedule for tomorrow. Again, many more matches today. We only had 3, I believe, tomorrow. We've got 5. There you have it. 4 tomorrow. Starting at 12:45 local time here, or I should say EST. Pre-game show, as we always do. And there's your first matchup. We're, again, starting with Enemy GG in Group B match with Leader 1. Really excited to see this second one. Optic Gaming, again, to see them again. We've seen them once as Optic in Las Vegas, and now this new and improved and boot camped out of Chicago Winter Fox.
Yeah, and that's going to be a real sort of telling game about the context of this tournament. You know, our Optic, there's clear favourites as we think they are. Are they going to come along? Are they going to blast all the opposition away? Or is Winter Fox actually going to get it together and put up some opposition? So that's going to be probably the game of the tournament so far, I would say.
It's both a question of consistency for both of those teams and really how well Winter Fox can do in general when it comes to a LAN performance. They have some really good talent on that squad that's being brought in from North America. Yeah. XP3, actually, in my opinion, is a fairly consistent opper. He's not like amazingly crazy like players like Kusta, but he can still do his job quite well and do it well most of the time. It's not like we see him constantly dropping off and then doing good the next match.
But on the flip side of that coin, you got Shazam going off at the moment, like he's in the form of his life. And this is what always happens with him. You know, when he was in Cloud9, he couldn't do it in the spotlight. But now he's back with Optic. When he's on these kind of second-tier teams, he's always like the star player. He's always putting in good performance, great numbers, and he was amazing in Vegas. He carries that for him, and he's going to hit this tournament like a wrecking machine.
Final thoughts on today's performances of everybody, Blue?
I would say fairly predictable in terms of the overall results of it, but for EZG, actually quite the surprise of that last match considering how well they did, and hopefully we'll see more of them in the future.
And you?
You know, yeah, stoked for EZG. Shame about the salt from Splyce. You know, never cool. But yeah, just I think it's been a good first day, you know, where people have been able to get their names out there. But real games for me start tomorrow.
Yep, sounds good. Thank you, gentlemen. We're almost done, but we have Davey and we have Vansili going to interview Davey, see what Davey thought about that match. Take it away, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Guys, thank you so much. Vansili here, joined with Davey now. I'm surprised you're actually still wearing a winter hat after those 2 games. I mean, I'd do it for you, but I have makeup as well. But 16-14, tell me about those matches.
Well, we didn't play our best Counter-Strike. I don't think anybody can argue with that. But regardless, you have to give credit where credit's due. And both teams we played against played really well, especially that guy who's standing right there, just waiting for me. Get over here, Dan. This guy,
my man, Virtus.
This guy went absolutely ham on the first map. And that really shut us down. And then the second map, they played really well, and we were able to claw back. It was really back and forth. It was really fun to play in, but obviously you'd rather, you know, win more handily. But it was a fun match to play, and I hope it was fun for everyone to watch.
Oh, for sure. But tell us a little bit about Arya as well. I know that Virtus played very well on Dust 2, but Arya was able to stand his ground as well on that first matchup that you guys had against Leader 1.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Arya played great on Dust 2. To be completely honest, I felt like we were the better team on Dust 2, and I don't think their team will argue with that. There was just rounds where he would just get 2 or 3 kills and he would just completely flip the round over, and that's pretty much what it came down to. I felt like we were the better team. I feel like we played better, and I don't want to say we should have won because I feel like that's not a very good term because. They should have won because of how well he played, but I feel like the score was really close, and it was a really close game.
Yeah. Maybe I could ask a question that's going to go to both of you guys, because I'm going to talk about the CT side when you were playing CT and you guys are playing T. We're going to talk about Virtus's op as well, how on point it's been. And at the same time, your CT side has been very aggressive as well. I've noticed a lot of times, Virtus, you've been playing T-spawn a lot with the AWP. Did you anticipate the aggressive play by Splyce every single round?
Yep. I saw it a couple times in demos that they decided to push B and mid and do a lot of. Yeah? Is that a problem, man?
That next time. That's fine.
No, I just I watched a couple demos and I saw that they liked to do a lot of like B splits and pushes off cat and stuff. So I waited. My team fast catted a lot, and if they didn't see them cat, we knew they were playing long. So it just kind of set me up to do what I was doing. So.
Great. And now let's talk about it a little bit here, Davey. how come your CT side is always so aggressive versus like other basic CTs where you actually want to bring the action towards you? You guys actually really want to bring it to the Ts. So why is that?
I feel like it's good to have a mix of both. And whoa, that
okay.
voice crack was brutal.
It's okay. It's okay.
I feel like it's good to have a mix of both. And I've been sick for weeks, so it's not my fault.
It's been close games too.
Yeah, it has. It's been close games. I feel like it's good to have a mix of both aggressive and passive, because if you get into too much of a habit of one or the other, then it's easy for other teams to predict and counter strat you. And honestly, I think on another day, if we were hitting our shots and just playing a little bit better individually, I think we would have won both the matches today.
All right, well, let's go with the final question here. The last matchup you guys just played, it was against EZG, 16-14. What can you tell us about them? Because they're basically an open/intermediate team, and it came down to the last round.
Yeah, they played really well. They played a really slow style, really slow execute style. They were throwing lots of fakes, and when it came down to it again, we just had to be able to get the kills on them rotating around the map on their T side, and we weren't able to do it. Our T side was really strong, and I think we haven't had any problems with that. But our CT side, again, we just weren't able to get the kills on them rotating when they were throwing their fakes and running back and forth. We knew they were doing it, and we were just losing the engagements.
Sounds good. Well, at the end of the day, at least you guys both advance, live on to fight another match. So good luck to both of the teams for Leader 1 and also for Splyce. That's gonna end it for us today here, actually, for day 1 for the CSGO Americas Minor Championship. Tomorrow we're actually gonna be coming back on day 2. It's gonna be going live for the pregame show at 12:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll have our first match here at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So don't go anywhere, or I'll see you tomorrow with everybody else here for MLG TV at the arena. Have a good night.
Join us on April 1st through the 3rd at the Nationwide Arena in Columbus, Ohio. Watch the best teams in Counter-Strike Global Offensive go head-to-head for a guaranteed prize pool of $250,000.
He could be able to get this. Got the ace clutch! Shazam!
Teams like Fnatic, Envious, Virtus Pro, and many more will be there. Be sure to check out the VIP package for the ultimate esports experience. Buy your tickets now at mlg.tv/csmajor.